So Joy Reid and Tiffany Henyard got their walking papers. This is a sign that the world is healing. This is a sign that the world is tired of the race baiting and the world is tired of the ratchet. The race baiter would be Joy Reid. The ratchet would be Tiffany Henyard. Now, this little mayor, okay, Tiffany Henyard, who lost her bid to re-election as the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, last night, did everything she could to be the most horrible stereotype and the most horrible representative of her community as possible. She hired people who had raped children. And I'm doing the YouTube speak thing because they'll shadow ban my shit into non-existence. Okay, she misappropriated funds. She used funds just for her own advertisement. Tiffany Henyard, Tiffany Henyard, Tiffany Henyard, everywhere the eye could see, which you're not supposed to do with taxpayer money. You're supposed to raise funds for whatever re-election bid you have. Okay, she started fighting at the city hall, a physical fight. Okay, she spoke horribly to her constituents. She behaved like basically your typical ghetto, your typical hood booger. To say nothing of the fact that every time she opens her mouth, it sounds like slavery just ended 5 minutes ago. Okay, this woman can't even speak. And so in addition to me being grateful for her getting her walking papers and the new presumed mayor, Jason House, coming in, because he's going to win. It's a primary, but I'm sure he'll win the general election too. In addition to me being happy about that, I have a question. How did this bitch get voted in the first place? This bitch was a straight up actual criminal who was caught breaking into cars and being a scammer. But still, because she came in and blacks are susceptible to that cult of personality, oh, she's speaking my language, right? So people voted for this idiot. And then once they realized what she was, tried to get her out, but the recall was thrown out in court. So I am very happy to see Tiffany Henyard out. The ratchets again and the race baiters are slowly being edged out. Joy Reid at MSNBC, who couldn't talk about any story without turning it into black people versus white people, or white people versus Latinos, or whites versus this. Everything was fuck white people, fuck white people, fuck white people. And I'm not a defender of white people, and I'm not an attacker of white people. I am entirely indifferent. I believe people are individuals. I believe blacks are individuals. I don't view ratchets as individuals, but I believe all races are composed of individuals. So I think it's very negative, okay, to turn every story into an us versus them. And then we wonder why the country is so divided when you have a journalist who's actually being paid to be on TV saying stuff like, well, those are just your white tears. Okay, those are just your white tears, knowing that if a white, God forbid, a white male journalist came on TV and was like, oh, the suspect was, pew-pewed by the cops because he broke into a house, and here's the mother of the burglar on TV crying, saying he was a good boy, and then the white reporter says, well, those are just black tears, and they're always doing criminal shit. Imagine what would happen to him. He would never see the light of day, but he would be canceled into the abyss. Okay, but this bitch Joy Reid, who again made everything racial, went out of her way to turn any story into that. I remember when that kid Gabby Tito, or Gabby whatever, who was a young white girl, like 22, who got killed by her boyfriend, and I fucked up. YouTube's gonna get me for that K word. But anyway, her family couldn't find her for the longest time. Her boyfriend, flipped out, did something horrible to her. So she could not be found for the longest time. So the family's looking for her, and Joy Reid goes on and starts talking about, missing white woman syndrome, And oh, it's only important when it's a white woman missing. And you know, to me, I was like, that is in such poor taste. It's in such poor taste to say that when take out black, take out white, take out culture, take out nationality. If your child is missing, you are scared, you are angry, you are frustrated, you are anxious. This isn't the time to have the color of your child's skin thrown in your face. I thought she should have been fired for that. I thought she should have been given her walking papers for that. Because however true it may be, it is insensitive. And there is a better way to say that. I believe in speaking truth to power. That's why I speak against the ratchet, because the ratchet currently holds sway in the black community. That's why I am the mortal enemy of the ratchet and all ratchet related things. But, you know, I think you should speak truth to power. But I do think there's a way to do it. I think there's a way to say things where you can get your point across, but you don't have to shit on people's feelings. So her being fired, great. And when I saw her crying her black tears, I laughed my ass off because I was like, oh, there goes those tears that we're supposed to care about. You know, this is one of these women who lionized and canonized George Floyd and raised him up like he was some kind of goddamn hero and some kind of martyr that we should like care about. No, this poor guy, nobody with sense was that hurt over George Floyd. I'm sorry, nobody with sense was that hurt over a man who decided to do two different drugs, go out, try to pay money with a counterfeit 20, get told by the person working the counter, I'm calling the cops, and then you're so high and stupid that you stay on the scene. You're in a car. Get the fuck out of there. It's a counterfeit 20. I doubt the cops are going to be Johnny on the spot for a counterfeit fucking 20. You could have gotten out of there. He was an idiot, and he died like an idiot, okay? Again, I think it's wrong that the cops let him pass out like that, but, you know, you're an idiot. But this stupid bitch, Joy Reid, tried to turn this guy into the patron saint of blackdom. You know? So, white parents looking for their kids need to hear about how, oh, this is just missing white woman syndrome and fuck you and fuck your kid that you loved since the day they were born. But us black people get to have a literal drug addict, a thug, and a person who puts a pew pew to the head of a woman who's alone in her home. Well, not alone, home with her child, right? He gets to come in, rob her place with 4 or 5 of his friends, and we're supposed to love him. Everything was backwards about Joy Reid. So Joy Reid can get fucked. Tiffany Henyard, you know, I really hope her chickens come to roost. She needs to go to jail. She needs to go to jail for all the things she's done. She needs to go to jail just for the fucking that voice of hers, and those speech patterns of hers. I'll never forget when she was when they were doing the caucus for her supervisory position, because she held 2 positions in Illinois: the mayor of Dalton and the superintendent of, I forget, something county. I forget, it escapes me right now. But there was a caucus being held to see if she could run again for that position. Subsequently, they decided not to have her run again because, again, the bitch is corrupt. But prior to that decision, she was out there and they're like, so how do you feel about your chances, Miss Henyard? And, you know, she said, I feel good. My people here. They out here. They ain't going nowhere. Who speaks like that? I've known many people from all over Illinois, a lot of people from, you know, straight out of Chicago. I've known a good amount of people. They don't sound like that. That bitch sounds like fucking Hattie McDaniels in Gone with the Wind. That was a horrible representation of our community. Joy Reid is a horrible representation of our community, and they seem to be on polar different ends because Joy Reid can string a sentence together. Tiffany Henyard cannot, but they are both still detrimental to the black struggle to not be seen as victims, complainers, and criminals. So I celebrate the fact that they're getting kicked out. This is, again, an indication that the world is healing, and may all the ratchets crash and burn as we take back our society in logic and reason.